Maintaining an organization's reputation is a complicated alchemy of responsibility, responsiveness, and trust. All of that can be more difficult when we've got crisis or controversy involved. Now, United Airlines certainly felt that pressure during the dragging debacle as the PR nightmare dragged on week after week. In fact, we did a previous video on that here at stratcom360.org, and since that video, United took what pretty much is a time-honored rite of passage for any organization going through such a crisis. They put out a full-page apology in major newspapers and other outlets. So let's take the opportunity to look at that apology and go through it line by line for some communications principles that you tend to see anytime reputation and trust are at risk. 236 words of contrition and change on some of the most expensive advertising real estate anywhere. The full-page ad in major national newspapers and other outlets. It's a high-stake piece of communication, and while this one has some shortcomings, in many respects, the United apology on April 27, 2017 contains solid messages with proven dynamics designed to strengthen clarity, credibility, and overall trust. To begin with, the apology comes clearly and early. In the first line, a key expression of empathy that, according to research, needs to happen up front before an audience is willing to open up and listen to anything else. What's more, the two lines that follow are highly strategic. Against a backdrop where audiences are primed to view airlines as cutthroat and ruthless, these new messages about corporate policies getting in the way of employee instincts for respect and shared values are designed to decouple how we view the people of United from how we might view the procedures. The company's clearly hoping we look at the procedures as the problem and the people as our partners in making things better. United CEO Oscar Munoz's personal acceptance of responsibility is strategic as well. While organizations should generally project a sense of teamwork to the public, the severity of this case does also require the kind of individual responsibility expressed by the CEO. As to the 6 meaningful actions the company lays out, some are more concrete than others. To be sure, the promise not to remove customers once seated and upping rebooking incentives to as much as $10,000 are both significant. Others, like personnel and training to help customers with travel options and a promise to handle overbooking more proactively, seem less like meaningful actions than lukewarm affirmations of what United should have been doing all along. And finally, United's mention of baggage issues does more harm than good. That's because by adding the point about lost baggage, even if it's in the context of how to fix the problem, United injects a whole different headache into an already difficult discussion focused on how passengers are treated in the boarding process. That might be a supporting message online about United's broader efforts to treat customers better, but in the context of this full-page ad, a major centerpiece of communication, the point about baggage simply serves as unwelcome baggage to the main message. Most unwelcome of all, however, and the biggest problem with United's message here is the 2.5-week lag between the incident and this comprehensive apology, during which time the airline kept changing its messages and level of empathy for those affected. The passage of time, unfortunately, can turn what might otherwise be a strong apology into a potentially stale one. Now, let's remember that this analysis is limited just to the communications and the messaging about the crisis, and not how United is actually going through with the remedies. That brings up a very important point, a mandate that goes far beyond just communications. And that is, however well you communicate about a crisis and what you're doing to make it better, you have to follow through with real-world actions that back up that communications and solidify the trust.